Hi, Arlene Schiffer here from MJ's Handmaids, MJ's Blues and Dance Club. The place to go when you really don't know what else to do. MJ's Blues and Dance is a virtual live venue inside a world called Second Life. You should stop by and visit. It's really cool. Before I get started, please don't hesitate to visit my group, MJ's Handmaids, in Facebook and join up. We're a quiet group. You can post your stuff in there if you want to. Tips and advice. It doesn't matter if you're a wire crafter or needlepoint or whatever woodworker. It doesn't matter even if you install custom windows. You know, it's handcrafted, made in the USA. All made in the USA. So please don't hesitate to join. Doesn't cost anything, and share your stuff. In the meantime, I did a quick video covering how to make this type of a weave. I'm not sure if you can see it too well, but I'm going to do a better video with bigger wire so that you can see it better and how I accomplished making this type of weave. A lot of artists will tell you to work it 2 wires at a time. I don't do it like that. I do 1 wire at a time, and it's pretty much flawless. It might take me a few minutes longer than anybody else, but the piece comes out a lot better. And I think it'll be a lot easier for people who are new at the craft as well. Right now, let me tell you a little bit about my tools. These, of course, are needle nose. They're tapered and they're small. I have a mark on them because when I'm doing like a crazy 8 or an infinity chain link, or yes, these little things. I want to keep my openings, my circles, uniformed. So I'll mark my tool, and it's in a Sharpie, and it does wear off really easy. So, but these are needle nose. These are specially made. Got these years ago. You can still get them today. They're who makes these? Preston Ruther. Preston Ruther. It's a set of 4, and they're specifically designed for prong rings. So you get a nice sharp square. These are just really good. They're precision prong ring making. So you, if you want to pick up a pair, I suggest to do that. Otherwise, regular flat nose will work out just fine. These are my flat nylon jaws, and I could use the new. I've already beat them up pretty bad, but I need new jaws. Very useful. And my wire cutters, depending on the size wire that I'm using. If it's 18 gauge or less, I'll use my smaller craft cutting wires. Otherwise, for bigger wire, like 16 gauge and larger, I'll use an industrial type wire cutter. So those are my most go-to tools. And I also use, a lot of people call these jump ring makers. They're actually called bail makers. But it really depends on the creator. But they come in multiple tiers, 6, and it starts at a couple of millimeters and it works its way up. And this particular pair is Beadalon, and I don't recommend this pair. As you can see, the gap in the middle, that's not good. And they're flat. And when you want something round and you have a flat side to the surface, nothing good comes of that. So, but I still use them. I've had them for a very long time. They're my first pair, and I've never. You could see the little prongs are missing. File. This is an older file. But yeah, you might want to use one of these. But in the meantime, let's start with this. Let's get this wrap done. I'm going to use an 18 gauge for now. And I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna measure anything out. I'm just gonna cut a few pieces 2, as a matter of fact. Because it's a tutorial, I'm not going to measure. I don't need to go too far with you. But when you want to make a weave such as this, your pieces need to be together. You could fold them in half so you've got something to hold on to, but you want to make them nice and close. What I'm going to do with this is just give it a kind of a loop, just so that I can hold it and show you. But if it comes out really good, I'm going to use it. Now, to make a weave like this, you always want to take the underwire and bring it over. I do not recommend doing both at the same time. They're not going to follow each other. They will frustrate you. So do one at a time. From the bottom, go over, go over the top, just like that. And then this one follows. See? You go like that. Always from the bottom. Bring it over. Follow through with the second wire. Yeah, this isn't working out the way I wanted to, but do it one more time for you. From the back, the wire is from the back. The bottom wire, the one closest to the center, bring it over. Your outside wire, follow it through, and they stay tight. You want it tighter, give them a pinch, and bring them in tight. And you, every couple of weaves, squish them down so that they stay flat. And that's pretty much it. One more time. Your bottom wire, the bottom wire, over the top wires, just like that. And that's how you do that. I hope that showed you a little bit of something. I'm going to pause this and set up for another demonstration of another weave, if you don't mind. Hold on. Okay, so for the next one, I want to show you just off of my head. How about a style of tutu weave? And then I'll show you how to do peaks. A tutu weave is simple. This is scrap wire that I cut, overcut for a make, and this is the end result. That's what happens when you don't measure and you just eyeball a lot of stuff, or you don't pay attention to what you're doing. But that's okay too, because the scrap does get used up. And even with showing you a tutorial, I might just end up using some of the stuff that I'm making as well. Turn them into bales or accents on pieces. If you're new to this, you eventually you just don't throw any of it out. But let's do a tutu weave real quick. Called a tutu weave because you have two wires and you're going to make 2 wraps around the wires. So you're going to start off with anchoring. This is, it feels like a 26 gauge. wrapping or weaving wire, and this is either a 20 or a 21 gauge. Feels like 20. You're going to take one, leave yourself a little bit of a tail to hold on to later if you need to, and you can start at a close end. But when you start to wrap, always wrap from left to right as if you're writing. And so if you ever put your piece down, when you pick it back up, you know exactly where your start piece is, and you'll know where your focal is going to be and where you left off. It's that easy. So I have 2 wraps around the wire. I know you can't see it that well. I'm going to add my second wire, and around both of them, I'm going to wrap twice. You want to try and make sure they stay the same size. Let's redo that. Keep them even, otherwise you're going to have voids, bumps. 1 and 2. You don't want to overlap your wires, so make sure you're not doing that. And then in between the 2 times. So you have 2 wires, 2 weaves on one wire, 2 weaves collecting both wires, and then 2 weaves again. 1, 2, in the middle, in between the middle, 1, 2, in the middle, that didn't go through, try it again, in the middle, in the middle. Now I'm probably making it look really easy. When you're first doing this, what you're going to want to do is definitely, whoopsie, I'm going to bring this out. You want to follow through with your wires and make sure they're pressed against the your frame wires, and that way you don't end up with bumps and loose looking wires. So follow through every time you do it. With my finger, I'm just pressing it up against the back. Press it up against the back, and then through the 2 wires. And if you're just starting out, you've only been doing this for a little while, definitely take your time. It's definitely worth it in the end to do it correctly. And just, if you ever heard the saying, haste makes waste, the proof is in the pudding. If your piece comes out sloppy because you rushed through it, you're going to redo it. So you just wasted a lot of time because you needed to hastily work your way through. So don't do that. One more time. 1, 2, and then in between, always going in the same direction, from left to right. Every few weaves, make sure you stop, take a look-see, squish them down together, and give them an easy press. Don't squeeze until your knuckles turn white, but just enough to compress it up against your wire. And that's all you really need to do. That's a 2-2 weave. Now let's go from here and make a peak. So this is also scrap, so I'm not going to cut a lot of wires. I'm going to take a 3rd piece. I'm going to do the 2 weave here, and instead of bringing it all the way up and around, I'm going to, from the back, I'm going to slide it in between the 2 wires, the 2 bottom wires, and then grab the middle wire and the top wire, just like that, and then bring it all the way down to the bottom from the back, and then up over the front and in between the top wire and the middle wire, and you have a small peak. I can get the lighting to stop reflecting off of it. Do it one more time. I like to put a space between them, so I'm going to wrap once around my bottom base wire, and then back, wrap around 2, come down to the back, bring it in between the bottom wire and the center wire, back up over the top wire, both wires, the center wire and the top wire, bring it all the way down to the bottom wire, back over to the front, and in between the top and the middle wire. And that's another peak. Now a third one. You can make them as tall as you want, short, but they're fun. Do the separating. Continue the same pattern. 2 in between those 2. And the same method you used for the bottom 2, you're now going to use for these 2. Bring it together, like so. You can't block that light. Not without blocking the wrap. See? And that's as easy as those are. They make everything look really cool. You can double up on these as well. I'll show you. Instead of 1, go 2. And what I like to do when I'm doing a 2-wire, like a flame peak looking thing, is in between the top one, I like to put an extra wrap. And sometimes you can get a flare to come out of it, something that looks like a flare, and that's always cool. Just another unique look. And that's a peak. Whoopsie. Let's make sure it's 2 wraps. Kind of forgot what I was doing here. And that's what that would look like. A little bit bigger, a little chunkier, a little more defined. You can see it a little bit better. And that's how you do those. I'm going to end this here. It's almost a 20-minute video, and I'm sure you're bored enough with me. So have a good day. Click the subscribe button if you want to follow me here on YouTube. My videos are not professional. They're not necessarily tutorials, but follow along, tips and little things I've discovered along the way. I've been doing this for a few years, and I'm still learning stuff. And like anybody who in any craft, you want to keep up with your skills and learn new tricks and trades. So sure, whatever I learn and find out, I'll share with you guys, and just follow up. If you learn anything, let me know. You know, I'm always up for a good conversation. So again, I'm Arlene Sheffer from MJ's Handmaids. Better yet, MJ's Blues and Dance Club, mjstreamsolutions.com, where you can get a shoutcast stream, and even if you want to test it out, see how it works for you, you know, If you're inside Second Life, contact Captain Jack Blazer or visit the Sim Intuitive, where you'll find the MJ's Shoutcast barn, and you can do a 2-day, a 48-hour trial right there. Test and tune your stuff, get going, maybe rent a stream from us, whatever. We're here for you. Get you going inside Second Life, build that musical career. So have a good day. I hope you learned something. Bye bye.